We want that reader who may or may not have ever really been interested in history to read this, see those pictures, and say, I want to know more. I want to get another of these comics. I want to pick up a book, an actual history book. I want to see a documentary. I want to see any number of things. A movie. That I want to know more about this. It again gets to that point of what can we do to make this interesting.
You are listening to Historyman, the platform for historians, curators, and authors to tell their stories of the American Revolution, walk in the footsteps of heroes, and proclaim freedom reigns. On today's episode, we are very fortunate and very happy to have Rick Emond, the CEO of Rick Emond Illustrations, and the illustrator for Historyman Comics. And we have, I guess, created or fostered a great relationship as we've tried to bring these stories to new students, new historians, call it a window of learning. So thank you, Rick, for coming on board with us.
It's great to be here.
Rick, how did you get into illustrating?
Well, that goes back a long time. Professionally, a friend of mine called me up and said that a friend of ours who had a radio program had a well-known illustrator for Marvel Comics. He was doing an interview with him, and that we should get a hold of him. So I said, great, and called. Turned out it was a recorded interview. It had been the week before, but we were able to get the number and everything, and call. And Sal Trapani was the artist, and he said, why don't you come to my home and let's talk and let me see your work. And off we went. Before that, it was just fun. It was just something I did, but then it became, a career goal.
Well, from that standpoint, what drives you to be an illustrator? Certainly it's not the money, because you can do a lot of things for money that pay more than this. So what drives you to be an illustrator?
You could pay me more. I'd be willing to accept that. But basically, okay, I love movies. From the time I was very small, I loved movies. And this has always, for me, has been a way for me to make my own films. When I'm doing something that's mine, that's completely mine, that I'm writing and then illustrating and all that, then I'm basically I'm the director, I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the director of photography, the lighting person, the costumer, I'm the actors, I'm the whole thing. It is just something that's a passion for me.
Well, what are some things that you like to draw?
I would have to say science fiction. That's always been something, because I think it was Einstein that said that that knowledge was important, but imagination was of greater importance. If you could conceive of something, not knowing of its existence, or whether it ever existed before, or whether somebody else thought that it could exist, you had developed this out of nothing, and that's where we go.
Well, you've been in business for a while. What are some pieces of advice that you'd like to share with young illustrators, young artists?
Sure. Take every opportunity. Draw. Somebody wants you to draw a turtle. Okay. Draw the turtle. They're going to pay you whatever, and you're starting out, and they need a turtle, and they need a turtle with a cape and boots, and you say sure. And can you do that? Yes, I can. And you'll figure it out. If you have the talent, and again, most importantly, if you have the imagination, then you'll create that thing, and it'll be yours. It won't be something that somebody else would have illustrated, that somebody else would have conceived of. Maybe it'll be close or whatever, but it'll be yours. It'll be special to you.
That's pretty cool. How would people find your work and get enthusiastic about what you've done?
I think they'd find it to be incredible. I think they'd find it to be, oh, you mean where
No,
it would be?
no, but how would
Okay.
they find it? Yeah. How would
Oh,
people get in
that.
touch with you? Let's say someone with a huge amount of money
Yeah.
want to hire you. How would they find you?
Well, see, now that sounds good. Okay. Yeah, you can go to Rick Emond. It's RickEmond.com. You'll see some of my work there. There are other locations that are out there. I had a larger website before, but we've been doing so much work with Historyman over the last few years that we decided, you know what, let's just, for my wife's website and for my own, so let's just have a landing page with some of the work on there, and we'll worry about that later. Because right now, the important thing is what we're doing, what we're developing.
Well, you've become a signature artist in the Revolutionary War genre, especially in Historyman Comics and in South Carolina, as we get ready for our 250th celebrations of the American Revolution. Um, what excites you most about this Revolutionary War niche that you have found yourself in?
Well, that was the interesting thing on that was, again, I was doing science fiction, I was doing fantasy. I had done a few issues of a fledgling idea, which was Samurai Cowboy, and in those books, you had people. There was magic, and there was a cowboy with a samurai sword, and they were riding horses around like crazy. And as I recall, it's you saw some of the that work. You saw the horse and this and that. And you needed someone who could draw horses. And had you said, "Can you draw horses?" and I had not drawn a horse before, I would have said, "Sure, I can do that for you." But fortunately, I had the and my wife loves horses, so she was telling me, oh, that put expression on their faces. And I said, well, I'm already doing the expressions on the bodies, but you're right, I'll do that as well. It's important, whatever it is you're doing. And I've told a few people this in the past, young people talking about artwork. When they show me something they've done, and it's a just steward face, it's just no emotion. I'll tell them to work on that. If they can have a drawing that doesn't have that needs work. It needs some tweaking and what have you, some work that's going to develop over years or something. But but I see the emotion in it. Then I'll say you're halfway there. So that's what we're doing with that. You saw that, you liked it. We started working together to develop this, and and it was, oh, okay, this isn't just that's going to be cool. This is going to be, and I'm going to have fun doing it. And you have to have fun doing whatever you're doing. It's the best way. That's how it's going to come out really expressive. But the idea that I could do something and that it would also have another element to it, which would be to get kids, and I love history, get kids to also think wow, this is interesting. This is a comic book and it's telling the story that I'm becoming more and more interested in because of the illustrations, because of these books that are being developed. It's not just Batman and Superman and the Avengers and what have you, but rather it's heroes that really existed, battles that weren't in a 2 hour movie or something. This is something people lived.
I think every kid has fancied themselves in some way or another, at least attempted to draw, whether it be just stick figures or smiley faces, or
Hmm.
maybe they copy cartoons, or I know that I used to copy Hanna Barbera, that sort of thing. But
Sure.
what you end up doing is you're copying what's already been drawn, and the creative process of illustrating is a little different. The creative process of being a real artist is a little different. And to take it a step further, the graphic novels are different than even a portrait. What are the differences between a portrait and a graphic novel panel in terms of illustrating?
You can have the prettiest woman, a bold soldier, what have you, whatever your the element is going to be that you're trying to depict, and it's static. It's a statue, so to speak. But when you're doing a graphic novel, it's you're looking at that woman or that man or what have you, and you're saying, and what's the in the next second, what are they going to be doing in the next minute, the next hour, day? Why are they there? Who are they? You get to develop all of that, the whole adventure that they're on.
I've likened it when I've talked to other people about their work, and some of them are great artists, and they spend all their time on one picture. And I remind them over and over again that my illustrator is almost like in an assembly line, and he's moving through this book, and he's putting together these series of pictures, and it's totally different. He can't concentrate on one particular one and spend all his time on that. Otherwise, we'd never get the comic book done. Would that be a fair assessment?
There have been artists, some of which have worked in comics, amazing artists. Detail is incredible, uh, and it'll take them a year to do a book, as opposed to 5 weeks, which I normally do. Um, and we're doing it with you conceiving of it, developing the whole look of it, uh, penciling it out, inking it, color, the word balloons, the whole thing in that space of time. Um, One reason that developed was because I didn't know any better. When I started out, like my favorite artist back in the day was Neil Adams, and it just there was life. That was one of the words I was going to use before. There was life in that work. It really did look like everything in there was taken from life. The way a hand moves, the way somebody twists their body because they suddenly hear a noise behind them and they turn, and you're looking over their shoulder as they're turning. You're seeing what's behind them, whatever it happens to be. I saw that, and again, I didn't know that Neil Adams, and he drew a lot. He did a lot of this stuff. Just drawing it out. From his imagination. But he also he would take pictures of the other people that were working there. Of family and friends and all that. So, okay, go now, turn. Okay, lean that way, and he would take a picture, and then he would draw it from that. And I didn't know, so I'm just drawing everything. Think of it in terms of a Rubik's cube. You know that there are colors on all sides, and you're trying to match everything up, and you have to train yourself to not only see what's directly in front of you, but what are off to the sides that are invisible to you on the bottom and in the top and in the back. And you have to fill in all that information. So I didn't know that. And so I was just doing it and doing it. And then finally I spoke to someone about it and they said, well, use his models. And I was kind of let down because I thought, okay, he's doing the same, I'm doing this, what he's doing, and isn't this wonderful? And that we could conceive of this so we can, in our mind's eye. And then I discovered that he wasn't doing that for the most part. But then I felt elation because I realized, God gave me this incredible talent that I can use, not just draw something that's in front of me, but I can see it in my mind's eye. I can turn it like a three-dimensional drawing, flip it over, move it every which way to, to make it best for telling that story.
What's interesting in our collaboration, we speak a lot about movie scripts or movies and how a particular director took the viewpoint of that particular shot, and you have kind of likened some of the things that you were doing with those movie shots that you like. and that sort
Hmm.
of thing. And we have kind of moved to a script fairly early, kind of a movie script format that I send to you in story form, that you work off of, and then you go from there trying to get your shots like a movie director, like you had talked about earlier. Um, how has AI uh, changed what you do? I mean, do you have in these particular comic books for Historyman Comics? Have you done any AI? Have you used any of that?
No, not at all. I draw the work on, sometimes on paper, sometimes in the computer, but it's all drawn in there. And every so often, this little thing will come up, and I think it's called Copilot or something, and it wants to come up, and I just no, because I'm the artist and I'm conceiving of all this. And if I'm going to say, okay, Jerry, um, I need a plane and I need a car and I need two people and I want you to turn the guy this way and whatever it is, or come up with something that would be really cool for me. I'm not an artist anymore. I'm making suggestions, and somebody else is drawing this for me. I'm not even the writer at that point. The art is nothing without the writer, and then the writer needs the artist to visualize what he's created. But to have something like that just create something for you, I would feel like I was wasting my time and wasting the time of anyone. If somebody was willing to pay me to do something, to create something, and then I was back to the turtle with the cape. Okay, I just said, "Hey Jerry, I need a turtle and I want to put a cape on it." There you go. Why am I charging this person anything? He could go on there. He could go to an AI and say this, but if Jerry's doing it, then for me, then it's the same thing. I'm not doing it. I take pride in what I do, and in these moments of seeming perfection, and I love it's not perfection, but you know what I mean. It's just I love it. I go, oh, this is great. I love this. And there are times when you totally mess something up and you look at it and you go, that's it. Yeah, I needed to go in that direction. I needed to do this angle or something. Whatever it is, the expression that I sketched out, and I didn't really mean it to quite go that way, but my mistake makes it even better than it was going to be. You're not going to get that with AI. I think you're cheating yourself if you're doing that.
Well, what I've appreciated about you is that you are a constant learner. You're always seeking out ways to learn and in just about everything you do. Taking that cue, what have you learned about history while working on these projects?
Well, you've taken me down that path. Remember when we first started, I didn't know quite what you wanted, but I was going to throw everything I could into it to make it look as interesting as possible. But over time, because you trusted me with your words, I was able to realize, okay, no, this can be more of an action comic. These moments of quiet, of solitude, when they're discussing some battle plan, and it's like, okay, you could draw this, and it could be boring as hell, or you could find a way with an angle, with some background or whatever to make it exciting. And we've gone, and so since you've trusted me to do that, we've done that more and more. I've trusted you as a writer, and you've trusted me as an artist in many cases. You say, "Oh, you did that with it. Oh, hey, that's great." And off we go. We're as you say, we're developed into a team. The product is showing the world that this team works.
Yeah, but it's complicated too because when you think about Batman and Superman, those are lone figures, the primary figures in that particular clash of good and evil, and they
Mm-hmm.
have one, antagonist, whether it be the Joker or the Penguin or whoever else that might be. And
Mm.
but I would think that and that's compact, and it makes the drawing a little more compact. You don't worry about a lot of the background stuff. Um,
Excuse me.
but the historical nature of the Historyman comics is a little more challenging in many ways because you have real figures, some of whom still have family living today. Um, what are some challenges you've encountered and tried to work through?
Well, we don't always have a good rendering. Say if say I need to know what someone looked like back in that time, and we don't have we simply don't have anything, a sketch, a painting, or anything like that that I can say, okay, that's the look that I have to go with here. He's a tall figure, and or he's a short figure. He's heavy. He's whatever. That's what I need to go with. I'm going to play with it anyway, but at least I have that something to go by. Um, and so that can be difficult sometimes. And another thing is, which is kind of fun, is sometimes we'll have it's Joe, uh, the great historical general, whatever it is, who saved the day. Well, okay, so now okay, well, what does he look like? Oh, we're not sure. And then you go into the computer. Okay, see if there are any paintings from back in the day, what have you. Oh, there's one. Okay, that's what he looked like. Wait a minute, there's another one. He doesn't quite look like he did in the other one. And well, there's another one, and that's completely different than the other two. And sometimes it'll be part of it is you're showing the whole aging process. And in one case, somebody is doing a painting of someone to capture that moment. And in some cases, now that person has prospered in life. They become wealthy. Now they have this kind of clothing on. Now their hair is done a certain way, or what have you. The expression is different because they're sitting for hours while somebody paints them. Um, so that's kind of fun at times. Like, okay, well, I look at all these things and I say, okay, well, given the story that Eric has created, which of these, let's say it's this is what this person actually looked like on those occasions. Which one actually works best with Eric's story at this time? It's okay, that one, or maybe a combination of that one and the other one, but something like that, that you have that ability to say, all right, this is going to be my sketch, whatever, to go by. Um, so that again, that's kind of interesting. One of the things we've dealt with is given the area that the battle is taking place in and what have you, there are a million different uniform styles. There's all kinds of things, and you have to decide, okay, we can't do everything. How will we attack this? This is our own little battle. And how are we going to make this look interesting to the reader? First and foremost, we want that reader who may or may not have ever really been interested in history to read this, see those pictures, and say, I want to know more. I want to get another of these comics. I want to pick up a book, an actual history book. I want to see a documentary. I want to see any number of things. A movie. That I want to know more about this. It again gets to that point of what can we do to make this interesting. Your writing is you're not just telling me what the battle was and how many people were there and what uniform or whatever. Everything has developed to so we really know what these people were like. Now I have to visualize from your words what these people were like, and again, sometimes we're depicting their families, and there's terror, there's all this fear because the people in these battles or in the Indian suing material story where they're destroying people's homes because on one side or the other because of the opposition to what one party or the other is trying to.
Yeah.
It's about anything, including, again, I love science fiction. Science fiction, a good science fiction is not, for me, is not what a great spaceship. I love a great spaceship. It's got a ray gun. Wow, that's great, and what have you. The most important part of that story, whether it's science fiction or a Western or the Revolutionary War or what have you, World War II, it's the people involved. And do you like those people, or are you interested in those people? And are you concerned about what's going to happen to those people?
You've done a good job of taking my script, and then as you look at the panel, well, what is the primary focus of this particular panel? And when you've sent it back to me, it's interesting to me what you find to be the primary focus is different than what I was envisioning when I was writing. But then we come back and we collaborate, and then it works, and it's not so far off of the historical narrative that we both go, we can't do that, that sort of thing. So I appreciate that. Our first series was The Rise of Thomas Sumter. Recently, we took that first series and turned it into a quasi animation. We hired some background voiceover actors and took those two-dimensional illustrations that you made in that series, and we kind of added or created another genre out of that. But as we move forward, I know that you have changed kind of the way you are doing your illustrations in hopes of turning these into more of an animation series down the line. Tell me what you have done and how that has changed.
Okay, that wasn't the goal, but and I've done animation before, but the idea was, as we kind of touched on before, was because when we started working on these things together, I wasn't sure what you would want me to do. And so even though, and I like the artwork from the first books and all that, and that's all very good, as it developed, and I realized that you were open to me, doing, I basically, a comic, a Marvel, a DC comic without the superheroes and all that, with showing action, showing the emotion, all of that. That's how that developed. It isn't about, if I was doing with what I'm doing now, the animators can take that and say, okay, oh, okay, now he's jumping, he's going over here. There's the expression in his face. The actors can see that. They know what to do with it. They have the dialogue, of course, but now there's a face involved. There's a person moving through a scene. Um, the more static you render these things, the less the animator, the voiceover people, what have you, are going to have to work with. So it wasn't a matter of I need to develop this for them. It's, oh, I can do this. You gave me that freedom, so I'm doing it. Now, I knew since I worked on an animation project before for William Shatner, as a depiction from one of his books, that I knew what was going to happen with it, and I knew we're going to be able to take moments and turn that into something powerful in the story. As far as animation is concerned, you're taking what you've done in that drawing, and you're saying, okay, now someone's moving through the scene. All right, I did it in the scene, the animation I did in the past. There's a man in a kitchen, and when he's in the kitchen, suddenly somebody bursts through the door, and they have a weapon and they're firing. All right, so I'm reading all this. All right, now I have to draw that scene, and then the animator is going to take that scene, and he's going to give it more life, more motion. So I immediately thought, okay, you know what? We need one of those things that hang over a kitchen counter, an island, that where all the pots and pans are hanging down. And the reason I wanted that was because when the bullets start flying, I want them hitting that thing. I wanting this, things are falling down. I want this man to be able to jump behind that island to escape the shot. Things of that sort that would give it, so he's not just going, oh, there's somebody trying to get me and now I'll hit them. It's what would really happen. So again, that's why I have an idea of what they're going to be doing, and so I'm thinking in those terms when when I'm drawing this, I know that they're going to be able to say, okay, there's a foreground, there's a middle ground, and there's a background, and any of those elements in those three areas can be utilized in that animation. So it's already there for them, and it's a matter of what they want to take. They may say it's like we're talking about before, just with imagination. They might decide we should have somebody else walking through in the foreground. You see these two people and they're talking, and this person or a wagon or whatever it is moves through in the foreground, and for a moment blocks them. But you hear them talking, and now it's gone out. It gives it more life. Something else is happening in the background while all that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It becomes three-dimensional in that sense.
I appreciate it. I think we're really starting to hit a sweet spot. If you use a baseball term, we've hit a sweet spot on our batting here as we go through our stories. For our listeners who've not read the Historyman Comics graphic novels, each has a timeline, a map, a centerfold of our Patriot and British characters in the story. A Footsteps of Heroes section will give us a secondary or tertiary story within the main story itself, like if we're talking about a particular battle, like the Battle of Fort Watson or Fort Mott, then we have a secondary story like Rebecca Mott and how she ended up at that pivotal time or that pivotal battle. So, and you can find these on historymanpodcast.com, our website. We offer them. We have educator discounts and discounts for our museums and that sort of thing. Just reach out to us, historyman1781 at Gmail, or reach us at our historymanpodcast.com, our website. Rick, thank you so much. Let everybody know how they can get a hold of you one more time.
Okay. They can contact me at Rick at rickemond.com, RICK at RICKEMOND.com.
Outstanding, Rick. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.